give you my turn.
Thank you so much. My voice is a little hoarse from practice the last couple of days, but that's part of it. I just want to say we're just thrilled to be here. Very excited for the opportunity we've been given. Indiana University is well represented here by our captains that are next to me, and just really want to convey how proud of these young men that I am and the way that they've conducted themselves, not only this week, but as they've led our football team. And so really been a special year for us and an opportunity for us to be able to finish out our season here in Jacksonville in the Gator Bowl is a tremendous honor for our university, for our football program, and for what we're building at IU. And so I just want to thank the Gator Bowl, and I know Rich Thompson has done a tremendous job, and his whole staff, and everyone involved with this organization has been first class from the very beginning, for our first trip here, and our players have enjoyed the week, a lot of great opportunities, and enjoy the weather. The sunshine's been good the last few days, and just appreciate the time that we have together. One last opportunity as the 2019 Indiana Hoosiers get to spend together, preparing. Now we're into 2020 officially, but finishing up our season in a great way, and great opportunity for us. So the young men that we have here with us, introduce these guys. In the far left, Cronk, one of our four-year starters, senior captain, awesome young man, great player for us. And Peyton Ramsey, our quarterback, done a tremendous job this season. Great player, better young man, high character guy, as all five of these guys are, but appreciate what Peyton's done for this program. And then Nick Westbrook here, one of our wide receivers, tremendous young man as well, in all areas of life. As I could say for all five of these guys, they're not just really good players on the field, but excellent in the classroom and high character guys who represent all of us at a high level. And then Simon Stepaniak, one of our offensive linemen, Big Ten player, as many of these guys are, special young man, great work ethic, love everything he's brought to our program, and we appreciate all of these guys as well. And then Reakwon Jones, another Florida kid. We got 26 Florida players on our roster, and we have a couple of them sitting up here, and Reakwon's been a special player for us, and a linebacker that's just been, as a fifth-year senior, such a great leader. So I just want to say, as you go across, and you talk to these guys and ask them questions, but we had a lot of this group kind of represents kind of who we are this year. You know, we've been through some adversity. Coy had a tough season-ending injury, game 4, but matter of fact, just had somebody that was at practice the other day just commenting about how impressed they were with his leadership and the way that he's just coaching every single rep, getting these guys ready to play. And that's just how he's been and responded to this challenge that the good Lord has thrown his way that wasn't expected, but he's grown because of it, and I really appreciate his leadership. And the guy like Peyton Ramsey, we all know his story, and as the season started, and the way he's been able to display so much grit and toughness and leadership and character through not being named the starter, then coming back and being the guy and leading this football team to the Gator Bowl. So go through it, and Reakwon, as he's gone through some adversity and struggles along the way and at home, and the hurricane that devastated his family in the Panhandle there, and just to be able to fight through all that, and then Nick having an ACL injury that sidelined him for one of the seasons that we were here, and he'd be able to battle through that, and then Simon's had challenges with his health and different things along the way, and these guys have all battled, and they got tremendous character, tremendous grit, and tremendous toughness. So I think their stories are unique and special, and I'm proud to be their coach and proud to be the representative of Indiana University here today. Thank you very much. I'm ready for questions.
Raise your hands and we'll pass the mics.
Yeah.
Reakwon, it's been a month since you guys have played a game, and just in watching bowl games that are going on, and tackling can tend to be a little sloppy when there's been much of a break. How much of a point of emphasis have you guys tried to place on that going into tomorrow night? Make sure you're a good tackling team tomorrow night.
Oh, it's been a very strong point of emphasis. We practice tackling every day with circuits, and just make sure we're finishing properly when we going against scout team, going against our offense, Skelly, everything. We emphasize tackling, and something we're going to continue to emphasize today, tomorrow, until it's game time and through the game.
Yeah, I'd like to address this to Reakwon and then Nick, if you could. Everybody, it's pretty obvious why coaches in the Northeast and Midwest come down to Florida because of the talents down here. But talk about the reasons why you decided to go to Indiana, leave Florida, and go up there.
When I came on my official day, I just loved the vibe that the players gave. Campus is beautiful. The opportunity for education is great. And just, really it just meshed well with all the players that were already there. They kind of took me in as family, made me feel real welcomed, made me feel like I was already a part of the team, and just kind of, showed me like kind of how they wanted to change the program. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to come help and be a part of change, change something. I didn't want to go to a school that was already having success and I was just going to be there. I just wanted to go there and be a part of the change, and I think that, that was important to me, and just the family atmosphere was important.
Oh yeah, so pretty much the same thing as Reakwon just said. The biggest thing was when I came to IU on my visit. It just felt like family. It felt like home. It was kind of like a gut feeling that it just felt like the right place for me to be at. Then also, like he said, great education opportunities and the opportunity to change a program. It all just meshed well and just ended up with me, choosing IU.
All the way in the back.
This is for Peyton. Peyton, I saw where you were named after Peyton Manning. Have you ever talked to your parents? Have they ever talked to you about why specifically, of all the quarterbacks out there, that you were named after Peyton Manning?
Yeah, so actually kind of funny. When I was about to be born, Peyton Manning was still at Tennessee. And my parents just said they were, just sitting down watching the game. They just liked the name. Wasn't really because they wanted me to grow up and gain this skill set after Peyton Manning. It was just kind of my mom liked the name. My dad liked the quarterback, so I guess those two things kind of went together, and here I am.
It's just following up on earlier for Reakwon and Nick. As you're back home now for your final game in your home state, in the hours leading up to the game, what's it been like? I know we've asked you guys in the past about this, but it just kind of hit yet that you're back home for your final college game?
I've just been full of excitement and just thankful for this opportunity. It's been such a blessing. And it's just a great opportunity for, us kids from Florida who really can't get family to come all the way to Indiana every weekend or whatever the situation may be. Just an opportunity to be able to get as much family to be able to come watch the game and watch us play in our last game as Hoosiers is just it's a blessing, a great opportunity.
Yeah, it feels like I'm back at home. We're practicing at a high school field, local high school field. And it just took me back to playing back in high school here in Florida, and just the air is different, and just nothing but excitement. Can't wait to play tomorrow.
Back right.
Tom, we've asked you this in different ways over the last few weeks, but kind of following up on the questions we're tackling about Reakwon. What's the balance you've tried to strike in terms of the intensity of preparation this last month or so? When have you wanted your guys kind of full pads, full go, sort of long practices, and when have you wanted to maybe taper things down from a physical perspective?
Yeah, it's a good question, because it's such a delicate balance that you go through to try to decide how much to do, how often to do it, how soon to do it. Obviously you find out when you're going to play, and that really kind of determined our calendar. We've, obviously playing a late bowl game here in January allowed us to be able to give some guys some time away initially. And so the first couple weeks we mostly spent time in the weight room, getting our bodies rested and recovered from a long season, and coaches out recruiting. And then we did a couple player practices where we were able to do some 7-on-7s and some things like that, but no pads in the first couple weeks. And we came back that first Friday when the coaches came off the road, and we went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and went full pads, or at least in shells, all three of those days, and helmets, and tackling and hitting and trying to be physical, and just trying to balance that out to where we just did. The way I explained it to our team and talked to our coaches was the way we would handle a bye week type of schedule in terms of how long we practiced, and the focus on technique and fundamentals, really not getting into scheme. We did the first 6 practices. We did a 3-day cycle. We go 3 days on and then 2 days off, and then 3 days on, then a day off, and then after we got those 6 practices in of full pads type mindset, where they weren't quite as long of practices, but it was a lot of technique and fundamentals, and we didn't do any scout teams at all. Then we got into the full the prep for Tennessee, where you go through and do your scouting reports, and you have scout teams, and you divide them up that way, and you become more specific to schemes that you're going to install and things you want to do against your opponent. So that's the way we handled it, and to try and balance it out, so to give us a great chance to get 12 really solid padded practices in, and you have a couple walkthrough practices as well to be able to lead up to kickoff. So I don't think there's any perfect way to do it. You have to trust your gut. You know, I reached out to previous Big Ten programs that played in this bowl game because of the calendar that it affects, in other places I've been where we've had similar types of schedules, and tried to come up with the best one for our guys, because you want them to be fresh, but at the same time you want to maximize the physicality piece so you can recover, yet still be sharp and crisp to be able to tackle and block and execute a high level on game day.
Right down here.
Yeah, for any of the players, I know the goal was set kind of with the Leadership Council of the summer, not just to get to a bowl game, but to win one. How would you describe maybe the sense of urgency in practice this week? Is there a feeling of, you know, not just happy to be here, just kind of focused in?
I would say definitely there's been a great sense of urgency at practice. You know, we know what our number one objective is and our goal is, and you know, all the guys from young to old know what the objective is. And just talking amongst each other when we're in our rooms, you know, we got to win this game. We're going to win this game. That's our goal. And it's been very clear what our mission is. And, you know, the guys have locked in, came to work at practice. When it's time to work, when it's time to have fun, they've had fun. So I think the guys are really handling this trip well and keeping that urgency level high.
Back over here in the back.
Coach Allen, it's the 75th anniversary of this game. What have you told your players about the history of this game? And any other player want to comment about playing in the 75th game?
Well, we have talked about it. You know, I kind of mentioned and went through some of the names of some of the players that are going to be recognized in the anniversary group, the 22 players that went through that list of guys. I'm actually going to talk about even more tonight. But just to let them understand the type of the talent that has played in this game in the last 75 years is very impressive. You know, some of the very best future Hall of Famers in the NFL, collegiate Hall of Famers, All-Americans, and some of the best have ever played the game. And so it's a tremendous honor to be in that group. And as I shared with them, you go through and you get a player MVP that's going to be selected tomorrow night. The challenge is to be able to play to a level where somebody from our program gets the opportunity to get that and be distinctly recognized for all the history of football as a guy that came here and played and performed at a high level. And as I tell our team all the time, when the team plays at a high level, individuals get recognized. And so, but the team always comes first. So, but I think our guys are really understanding that this is a special bowl. It's a great venue, and we're very, very blessed and excited to be here.
This is either for Peyton or Nick. You guys had a chance to look at the film on Tennessee's defense. What kind of stands out to you guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, they're a good physical defense. They're big up front, and they kind of throw a bunch of different things at you to try to keep you on your toes. So, you know, just kind of trusting our game plan, kind of, you know, just continuing to do what we do best because they're good at what they do. They're big and physical, like I said. So sticking to our game plan, just continuing to push forward and you know, trying to execute the next play is kind of our biggest thing against them.
Yeah, you know, piggyback off Peyton, you know, they're big, physical, play sound defense, and, you know, have a lot of different looks that we just have to be prepared for. So the biggest thing is just, you know, get prepared, watch as much film as we can, so we know what to expect, you know, whenever we get these different looks, and, you know, just keep chugging along and, you know, play our game because we know it's going to work for us.
Simon, how is your health? I mean, how optimistic are you about your ability to maybe play or not, and kind of how have you handled this latest, I guess, setback?
Yeah, it's definitely tough being in such a highly touted game and being a game-time decision. That's what I am right now. So just working through some things, really helping the guys as much as I can, and just trying to get healthy and be back for this game is my main priority right now. So.
All the way in the back.
Coach, this is kind of a follow-up to what I asked Peyton earlier, but when you first meet him and you find out his name's Peyton, he's got brothers named Montana and Drew, what is your thought as a coach?
Well, you know, definitely a coach's kid family, you know, when you think that way. But matter of fact, the only thing I've really heard that's kind of topped that, I got a buddy of mine that has 3 children, and he was always a defensive coordinator, and he named them Mike, Sam, and Will, are his 3 children. And so for those of you who know football, that's the 3 linebacker positions. And so, you know, my dad was my high school coach, and so he didn't go to that extreme. But, you know, I think it's pretty cool that to have named after guys that play and the sports that you love. And obviously from from a mom's perspective, it's usually just the name that you just like, and after going through that process with my wife. And so, but I just think it just kind of exudes the family that he comes from. They love football. It's a big part of their family. They obviously talk about it a lot. They watch it a lot. And it's been manifested in the names that they have for their kids. That's pretty cool.
This is for Reakwon and for Peyton. Earlier in the year when I was talking to Wop, I asked him what's it like to be part of an Indiana team that could legitimately win 6, 7, 8 games. And he paused and looked at me. He said, "You mean 9?" Obviously, you guys know the history of the program. What is it like to have a chance to be one of the very few Indiana teams to win 9 games?
It's a blessing, and just it's a testament to all the work that people in this facilities and this program put in, from the players to the coaches to the training staff to the strength and just everything. And it's just truly a blessing. We want to take full advantage of this opportunity, and we know what's at stake and what we can do. So we're just gonna keep our heads down and go to work.
I think it says a lot about the guys that are sitting up front here, and the older guys that are in that locker room that have kind of gone through the growing pains and continued to fight and continued to push forward, even though it was hard and it was tough. And the leaders kind of stepped up and pushed us forward, kind of propelled us forward. And so many guys that came before us allowed us to be in this position. And it's kind of something that we saw coming because of the guys in the locker room and the guys that came before us.
Coach, now that you've had time to look at film of this Tennessee team, was there something in particular that jumped out between the start of the season and then the way they ended the season? One thing that just jumped and caught your eye?
Oh, I think overall, just higher level of execution, more consistent play. They were turning the ball over early, which is never a good thing for a team, and start eliminating those mistakes and protecting the football better. And I just think that they, when you look at them on both sides of the football, they've been sound defensively throughout the entire season. And as the players have mentioned, just big physical guys. But when you just, they're a new staff, a couple of years in there, and they're trying to put in their new system, and just kind of like how we experienced this. You start finding ways to win some of these close games, and then the confidence grows and it builds, and that's what you see on film, is a team that's playing their best football at the end, and they're able to run the football offensively, stop the run defensively, and not give up big plays defensively, and force you to put you in a lot of binds. In terms of their receiver core, it's just really, if you say something that jumps out at you, it's their receivers. When I first watched them, and we're an aggressive style of defense, and we play a lot of man coverage, and we got to win those one-on-ones. That's what we do, and that's how we're going to play. And we're not bashful about that. But you just start looking at those matchups and how that's going to play itself out, and they win a lot of 50-50 balls. Those guys jump up and go get it, and the quarterback's doing a better job of getting those balls to those guys. And so when you do that, you eliminate those mistakes, and you play more consistent, you start winning those close games, and which is what they've done. And they've won 6 out of the last 7. It's been impressive how they finished.
Coach Allen, you had previously mentioned that Tennessee maybe as closely reminded you to Penn State in your conference. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and what some of those things you see in common with them?
Yeah, we went through we have a coordinators meeting, on a normal Thursday as we prepare, which was yesterday, and sat down going through and just once again just kind of confirmed. I thought that when I watched him on film, and when you go through it, everybody's kind of, hey, who you kind of compare him to, and I do it from a perspective of, kind of starts with the line of scrimmage. Offensive line is where, because I'm as a defensive guy, the first thing I watch is their offensive line, and then you start watching their defensive line, and just seeing just high-level guys, physical guys that have good bursts on defense, and guys that are big and strong on offense, and then you start going and looking at their skill guys from there, and I just think the way they run to the football defensively, the multiplicity of their defense as well, and it's just the talent level. I mean, they have a lot of good football players, and just a lot of guys highly regarded out of high school that those, whoever decides who those players are, they figure out that they rank them as such and give them some stars and all that, and then when they go to college, they got to prove that they're worthy of those things, and so they got a lot of guys that have been highly regarded for sure, and they're playing good football. So I just think it's a matter of speed, size, and to me that's where we kind of felt like as a staff they were probably closest to is Penn State.
All the way in the back.
Right here. Raekwon, this question's for you. We've mentioned that Tennessee has won 6 of the last 7, 5 straight. Defensively for you guys, what are you going to do to slow down that red-hot Tennessee team?
I think first things first, we got to stop the run. That's what they're good at. That's what they've executed at all season. And that's going to be the key for us, to stop the run and eliminate big plays. They have big play receivers. They got a quarterback who can sling it down there. They got some O-line that can protect, so we got to get pressure. We got to win one-on-one matches like Coach said, and, stop the run. That's our mindset going into this game. We got to be physical. We got to be nasty. We got to be strong because that's what they bring into the table, so we're going to have to bring it right back.
Right down here in front.
For Peyton, when you're looking at film going into a bowl game, you've got a team that's played a bunch of games, but then there's about a month off, so I guess schematically a lot of things could change in that time. At that point, does it become more about personnel kind of on both sides and y'all just doing what you do going into a game?
I think that is the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing, it comes down to execution. And when you have this big month, you have this huge gap of time where you have the opportunity to watch so much film, and they've thrown so many different looks, and they have so many different schemes. It comes down to us and what we've been good at all year and continuing to execute that. And that's kind of been a point of emphasis for us, just running the plays that we're good at, maybe a different look here or a different look there, but more than anything, just continuing to execute and do what we do best.
Right down here in front.
Peyton, when you think about all the defenses that you've prepared for, how does Tennessee compare when it comes to just identifying coverages and locating pressure?
Yeah, I think that's also Penn State. A bunch of different they personnel-wise, it's similar, like Coach Allen just mentioned. But I think schematically, Penn State did a bunch of different things. They were good. Their D-line was good. Very multiple in the things that they did, and some good linebackers, long, tall, lanky, rangy guys that are really athletic. So I would say schematically, they also line up to Penn State pretty similarly.
Let's go right here for the last question.
Yeah, last question for Peyton. Through all the ups and downs you've been through this year, what do you think you've learned about yourself?
I think I've learned that I'm a fighter, and that just continuing to fight through adversity is the biggest thing. And I didn't really know how I was going to respond. It was hard initially. It was kind of a roller coaster ride of emotions, but I've just learned that I'm a fighter. That tough guys win, and as long as you're a tough guy and you keep fighting, then good things are going to happen.
Okay, I just want to say one real quick thing. We have our 75th team that'll be here tomorrow night to watch you play, and Archie will be here because he beat his son out as the quarterback of our 75th team. So let's put Peyton back on the board for our 100th team. How's that sound? Okay, Coach, thank you so much for coming. Thank everybody for being here, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.